Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna go through and show you my 2026 reading journal setup and what I did for it. And then I'm also gonna go through my 2025 reading journal and everything that I had in it and all of the spreads. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my flip through of my 2025 reading journal. Since I just showed you the setup of the 2026, and I'll also show you the finished setup of my 2026 reading journal as well. But I'm going to do the 2025 flip through first. So this is my notebook. I got it from my journal. I got it from Papier. I think that's how you say it. It's just like their I want to say it's the A5. It's the bullet journal one, so that I can kind of like draw things without there being like the lines in there. But yeah, that's the journal that I use. I'm also using it again for 2026 because I only used like, you can kind of tell, but I only used like half of it for 2025. Or like a third of it for 2025. So yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and flip through the journal. So the first like actual couple of pages, I did like a pen test for all of my like highlighters that I have, and I have markers. I wanted to see if they would bleed through, and they bled through. So I have my zebra midliners up here, which are the ones that I use the most, and then I got more zebra midliners, so I put the rest of them on this page here. And then these are my Mr. Pen highlighters that I'll also use to highlight my books and to write in here as well. And then I have my cover page for 2025. Nothing special. I just wasn't sure what to do, so I just threw something together pretty quickly. And then the next two pages are my reference page and my reading goals from 2025. So I'm pretty sure I hit 3 out of my 4 reading goals. So I did read 50 pages every day last year. I also read 3 books a month minus like June. I think it was May and June. I only read 2 books. But I still made up for it in other months. So I did pretty much read 3 books every month. And I also read almost 40 books last year with my book club books. And then my reference page, I just kind of put like how I like the stars, my star system for how I rank them, and then what I consider a soft DNF and a hard DNF. Which I've come to find out that usually if I DNF a book, I'm not going back to it, so it just becomes a hard DNF, unless it's like just because I'm not in the mood anymore for it. Maybe I'll come back to it, but most of the books from 2025 that I DNF'd were hard DNFs. So I have 5 stars. My 5 stars is that I loved it, can't stop thinking about it. 4-star, loved it, recommend it. 3 was a like, but not a favorite, but I would recommend. 2 was, it was all right, didn't really like it, not a recommendation. And a 1-star is, it did not like at all, but I don't usually give 2 and 1 stars because I just DNF the book. And then moving on from those, I have my TBR cart, which is where I put all of the books that I wanted to get to for the year on there, and then I like highlighted them to correspond with if I DNF'd them, if they didn't have a rating. Like for my memoirs, I don't rate my memoirs, and then I have like no color means I didn't read it. I obviously read Scythe. I have to color that in with the dark pink still. And then the only one I didn't get to is, oh, I also have to color in Carrie Soto with the dark pink as well. The only one I didn't get to that last year was 1984 by George Orwell. That was the only one I didn't get to. And then if I had extra books that weren't on the cart, I wrote them on the side and just highlighted them with the appropriate color. And I told you this already is on here, but I moved it over here because I used the wrong highlighter color to color it. And then I just have my bookshelf on the next page where I like keep track of the books on my shelf that I've read and the ones that I haven't read. Kind of helps me keep track of my TBR and helps me to know what books I can go back and reread if I want. And then I also colored them if I DNF'd them as well, or like got rid of them as well. That way I know that they're not on my list anymore and that I need to remove them from my Notion. And then the next set of pages is the DNF graveyard, which there's only 2, A Little Life and the Fine Print. Again, I originally had them as soft DNFs, and then I think I originally had them as soft DNFs, and then I just decided to hard DNF them because I just couldn't see myself picking them back up. And then on the next page, I have my series tracker. So I have So I had Dreamland Billionaires, but I crossed it out since I DNF'd the first book, and I'm not going to pick up the rest of the series. And then I have my Heston U, Heston Lake series, which is like a hockey romance series. So that's almost finished. I'm actually reading Matching All the Way now, so that series will be basically finished in 2026. There's still 4 books that are supposed to come out in that series. I don't know when they're coming out or if they're actually ever coming out, but I have them written down just in case. And then The Hunger Games is finished. I read Sunrise on the Reaping this year and finished it. And then I have my Magnolia Parks universe here, which there's supposed to be a 3rd and 4th Daisy hates, but she hasn't written them yet. But I will be basically finishing this series next month in February as well, because I'll be reading Into the Dark. And then I have Maple Hills, which the last one I needed in that one was Daydream, and I did read that in 2025, so that series is finished. And then I have the Natural series, which I am starting this year in 2026. And then I have the Rebel Blue Ranch series, which is finished and is now being replaced by her Soul Searching series, which I will also be starting in 2026. And then the Rose Hill series, the last book finally came out, so I didn't update it on this side, but I did update it in the 2026 side of the series tracker. But hopefully maybe I can start that series this year as well. And then I have my monthly faves, like I talked about in my top books of 2025 video. So I have one from each month on here, and obviously Collide and First Lie Wins didn't make it into my top 10 of the year, but they were still good books, and I still enjoyed them, and they were my favorites out of the month that I read them. And then it goes into my monthly spreads. So they all pretty much are going to look, it pretty much looks the exact same. This is my spread that I have. And I actually took this spread and I'm using it again in 2026, but I have the title of the book here. I have like a picture of the cover of the book here, and then below it I have some stats for the book. So I have when I started it, when I finished it, how many pages it was, the format that I read it in, so like paperback, hardback, audiobook, and then I have the genre that it is, the year that it was released, and my rating is the very last one. And then below that I just have like a little section for a little synopsis of the book, and then over on this side I just have like my review of the book and what I thought about it. So this is the first part of January. I did all of them in January, and then February I did one. I kind of fell off and stopped doing them. I think I did one in March, or actually I did 1.5 in March. I didn't finish my complete thoughts on Sunrise on the Reaping, but yeah, I didn't do any in April. I don't think I did any in May either. I didn't do any in May, didn't do any in June. I did 2 in July. I did Jackpot Summer, and I did Just for the Summer in July. I did write a review for those. August, I also did the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I did a review on that. I didn't do a review on any of the other ones I read this year, I don't believe. Yeah, none of my other ones have reviews on them. So my goal for 2026, one of them that you'll see, is that I want to actually write my reviews so that I actually know what I want to say in videos, and I have more to say in videos about the books instead of just a general description of the book. And then this is the last page for December. I did not read 1984, so I just put a little sad face. And then I did reread The Summer I Turned Pretty. I just didn't write anything out for it, but I did mention it in my wrap-up, and I said I gave it a 4-star. And then the last 2 pages for 2025 are my book club reads and my year in review. So we started the book club in July, so I only read 4. I didn't read the November or the December pick because I didn't like the books. I didn't want to read the books that they had picked, and we didn't really pick a book until like halfway through the month. But these are the ones that I at least read. I at least read 4 of them. So yeah, I realized while editing my 2025 reading journal flip through that the year in review got a little messed up. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back through my year in a review page. So the first bar graph here that I have is just how many pages I read per month, and then I put in each little bar like how many pages I read. This one goes up to 1,200. I think for 2026 I put it up to 2,400 just because there are quite a few months here that go over the 1,200, like August and September, and November as well also goes over the 1,200 mark. So I just bumped it to 2,400 just to be sure that I had enough bar graph space. And then the bar graph next to it is just how many books I read per month. So I have basically pretty much 3, except for May and June. Those were only 2 books, but then I did make up for it in like August and December. And then August was my most read book month with 5 books total. I think I kept it at 5 for the 2026 year in review as well. Yeah, I kept it to 5 for the 2026 year in review as well on that one. And then down here I have for my average star rating, I did a bar graph for it. However, I think I'm just going to do like a line graph instead because it'll be easier to put like how many books and what star they're on instead of trying to make a little bar on each star rating. And then I just put how many I had, and my average star rating for 2025 was a 4. And then I have a bar graph for the genres that I read, which again, I think I'm going to just do a line graph, like how I'm going to do with star ratings. That way I don't have to worry about trying to fuss with bars on here. This is my rose red genre is fiction, but I actually think it's romance if you take out the mystery, thriller, horrors, because I had to add them in there because I did not leave enough genres at the bottom, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to add more genres as well in my 2026 wrap up. But yeah, that's my year in review for my 2025 reading journal. And then for my 2026 reading journal setup, this is my, I'm gonna move this out of the way. This is my title page here. I decided to do something that was kind of dark academia-ish, just because this year is pretty heavy on the dark academia that I'm reading, and I saw this like cover page for somebody's like bullet journal, for like their bullet journal planner, and I thought this was really cute. So I did the same thing here for my 2026 reading journal, and then I took like these little like pieces of like cardstock scrap paper that I have, and I just kind of ripped it and put it in the corners because I thought it added like a nice little touch to it. And then the next page is my reference and reading goals. I actually condensed them into one page this year instead of it being on 2 separate pages, and my TBR cart is on the page next to it. So I actually updated my references from what they were originally in 2025. So I still have the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 stars. But 5 stars it's an automatic favorite. Absolutely loved it. I'm recommending it. 4 stars, loved it, but I just didn't get that 5-star feeling from it, but I would still recommend you to read it. 3 is that I liked it, but it could have been better, but I'm still recommending it. And then 2 is I disliked it. Maybe I soft DNF'd it because I maybe wasn't in the mood for it. So not sure if it would be a recommend, so it's a maybe. And then a 1 star is that I hated it, I should have DNF'd it, and that I absolutely do not recommend it. But again, I usually don't go lower than a 3 star on books, so I probably won't be putting a 2 or 1 star read in my journal. But yeah. And then I have hard and soft DNF on here again still, even though, like I said, my soft DNFs usually just end up becoming hard DNFs unless it's like something that was with me personally and not the book. So the hard DNF is that I won't come back to it. I absolutely did not like it, and it's going to be leaving my shelf and never coming back. And then a soft DNF is that I'm unsure about it. I might come back to it. I might hard DNF it, depending on if it was a me problem with it or if it was a problem with the book. So it is a soft DNF. I might come back to it, but I might also just hard DNF it and get rid of it completely. And then my TBR cart is here. So I have my little like stripes and what they mean. So I updated them to say it was a the light green is a 1 to 3 stars, and then if it's a 3.25 to a 5 stars, then it's getting the darker green color, and then gray is still my DNF color. And I think I have 12 books on each of these, so I should be able to put the 36 books that I've read this year onto here. And I'll probably put the 24 that I've already picked out for the year on here as well. And then I have space to write alongside if I go over that. And then I actually updated my bookshelf for this year because the one I had in 2025 did not fit all of the books that I owned onto it. So I made it 2 pages this year. And this one actually fit all 170 books that I own onto it. Plus I did have to put the other 10 books onto the side here, just because I did run out of a bit of space on here with like putting in like the cute little plants and the like picture frame and like the way these little like things up here at the top are. So kind of just how like the books were set up on the shelf, I didn't have room for at least 10 of them. So I do have 185-ish books total of everything that I've read and haven't read. And then I just have this little color code thing up here. So the darker yellow, like orange color is that I read it. The brighter yellow is a DNF. And then the nothing colored in is just like a book that I haven't read it all yet. And I actually just realized I missed a book on here. Oh wait, no I didn't. I left that open specifically for if I get another poetry book. And then I did leave this one open down here in case, next to like my Hunger Games ones, in case Suzanne Collins writes another book, another prequel book. But we'll see. And then my next 2 pages are my series tracker and my anticipated releases for 2026, which I do have to finish this page. I do need to print out the covers of the books that I want to read and put them on here, and then when they're coming out, so that I have something to say these books are coming out, and then I can mark whether or not I have purchased or read the book, purchased and read it, or just purchased it. And then my series tracker here, I kind of gave an updated version of it when I went through my 2025, but my Heston Lake, the Naturals, and the Magnolia Parks and Rose Hill series are all pullovers from there. Like I said, I am finishing Magnolia Parks this year. I am starting the Naturals this year, and I am about to finish the Heston U, Heston Lake series. What's out of it so far? There's still 4 books that are supposed to come out, but again, I don't know when or if they ever are. But I will be basically finishing that one at the end of the month here. And then Rose Hill, I am hoping to start that this year, but I don't know. And then I have the Sweetwater Peak series by Lila Sage. There's only one out now, and I will be getting to it in October, so I will be starting that series this year. And then I have the Arc of a Scythe series here. So there's 3 books. It's a trilogy, and then there's like a novella in there. So I guess it's a trilogy series. I don't really know what to call it. I think I'm just gonna call it a series, since there's technically 4 books in there. And then I also do have the novella for the Natural series here as well. But I did read Scythe, so I have started that. Hopefully I can finish it. And then this one I'm actually going to be marking off here soon. It is Portrait of Lies. And the first one is The Art of Deception. And then there's supposed to be, I know there's at least another book coming out, but I just put 4 squares just in case there's more than just the 2 or there's more than 3. But yeah, I have those ones. And then I have my DNF graveyard again and my book club reads on this page. So this is just my DNF graveyard. I won't like fill this in until I actually like go through and DNF a book. And then once we do our book club reads, I will go through and I will do this. I know the one for this month, January, they are doing People We Meet on Vacation, which I have already read, so I don't need to read it, but I will still put the little picture in here since I have already read it, and I will be participating in like the discussion that we have for it. And then I have my monthly faves again, same setup as it was last time in 2025, and I'll just go through either at the end of the year or after each month when I print off the pictures for this. I'll print off this one as well, and I'll put it in here for my favorite book from the month. And then again, I said it, but I have the same setup here again for my books and for which ones I want to read. So I just have my review, a space for the book cover, the title of the book, who the author is, and then when I started, when I finished, pages, format, genre, when it was released, space for my rating, and then a little synopsis of the book. I don't know. I might get rid of the synopsis and just leave the entirety of just leave the like my review part in there, because sometimes I struggle to come up with a synopsis. And then I'm going to go ahead and skip a bunch of pages in here because it's all just basically like reserved for my my monthly spreads, because they're all going to be pretty much the same. I don't really change them. And then here at the end of December, I have an entire page for my rereads. I just didn't like title it yet. But I'm going to go through and I'm trying to reread 6 books, so I'm rereading the entirety of the Hunger Games series, so including the original trilogy and the 2 prequels that have come out, in anticipation for the Sunrise on the Reaping movie that comes out in November. And then I'm also rereading The Great Gatsby because, again, it's a book that I reread every year. I love rereading it. So yeah, I'll put those all on here, and then I'll probably just give like a brief overview rating of them, whatever I feel fit. And then I do have another year in review here. Again, I didn't write the title just in case. I'm doing the pages read per month again in that like bar graph. And I put this up to 2,400 pages just in case. And then I have the number of books I read per month also in the bar graph form, because I do like to see how many books I've read. And I think I maxed it at 5, but if it goes over, I'll just write it in. And then I have my star ratings here as well that I think I'm going to do like a line graph for, because that'll be a lot easier than trying to do a bar graph on these little points here and trying to make bars. And then I think I'm going to do the same thing for book genres. I, however, didn't fill in any book genres quite yet. I will go back at the end of the year and I will look at all the genres that I've read, and I will condense them into like maybe 6 or 7 that I think will fit on here, and I'll do that on the bottom of that. And then this one's also going to be a line graph so that I can put little dots and just connect them, because that'll be a lot easier than a bar graph, because again, the bar graph was kind of hard to do with these in 2025. Okay. And that was my 2025 reading journal flip through and the setup of my 2026 reading journal. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.